Awesome. The first thing that my stream gets to hear is you guys talking about butts and coughs from my oldest, who is currently dealing with, the lingering after effects of,
Dry cough.
yeah, that thing.
Well, at least it's not part of the Furby taxidermy thing.
Thank you, Jesus.
I
Yeah.
sent you an image, Godance.
Oh, Jesus.
Or apparently aliens?
Yeah, aliens were definitely mentioned a few times last night. Damn. All right. Hello, my friends, and welcome to another rendition of the Krieg Dominion. I am Omar Krieg, your host, Lord Commander, and other superfluous titles as I feel necessary at the time, and I'm currently out of cool title-sounding things. This is
Like
Blood and
today's
Glory.
intro is
Shut
gonna be
your
better.
face. I do have something different, but we're not on that intro.
Oh.
However, speaking of intros,
Spoilers.
let me remind the viewers that tomorrow evening I have something special beginning, and that
You're
is
doing another episode of Prey?
no. That would be our series premiere for Second Star, a Traveler 2300 AD role-playing experience that I have gathered a few crazies to join me on a journey through the stars, a la Carl Sagan. No, we're not going to get that crazy with it, but we are going to go explore some stuff out in the universe. And speaking of the universe, because we're all part of it, let's zone in on the British Isles. I'd start with Rev,
Howdy.
player of Sir Everett, with his probably comically annoying intro.
I just wanted to say that, first off, if we want to do a real rendition, then our intro needs to be like a song and dance.
No, please, Jesus God, we do not want to see him song and dancing. Song.
Okay, because otherwise you just meant addition.
Whatever.
Anyway,
Yeah, we'll go with that.
okay.
Please.
Speaking of, I do have some ideas for a song and dance theme if you guys want to get with me later.
Is this anything to do with Furbies? It is straight out.
No. But it might have to do with aliens causing train derailments.
Oh, Jesus God. All right, is that all you have? Do you have anything else?
Would you like me to?
I mean, it's your intro moment.
I'm pretty done.
Okay, good.
Valentine's Day was long and exhausting. I can only do so much.
I don't need to know more. Talus, the player of Sir Farvel, please give us something more than cookies or ice cream.
Kisses. Happy Valentine's.
Fuck! I should have seen that coming. I should have. God damn it, that was good. All right, you're fired.
The Hershey's ones, or what?
I'm going with the Hershey's
and,
ones.
And
his puking fish.
So do you prefer the kisses
It's
or
actually
like the
an
hugs?
egg yolk.
or-
What?
You said
As for
it's
the
an egg yolk.
puking thing was an egg yolk, and then what was the other one? Forgot.
I said, do you
already.
prefer like the kisses or the hugs for like the little candies?
Oh yeah.
Which one's
Oh, wait,
which?
what?
I forgot. One has almonds in it,
kisses are-
right?
The kisses are the solid chocolate, and the hugs are the ones that have the white chocolate swirl.
Gotcha.
Oh, both of
Oh,
them
that
are
makes
good,
sense.
But kisses work best for Valentine's. Ha ha ha.
Oh my
I don't
God. It's like, I don't know what I'm talking
Anyway,
about.
that's it.
Depends on what you're into. You can call them butt hugs.
Whoa, hard line. That's a hard line. Ro, please, fucking save us, please, Jesus, man.
My cat has decided to come jump up next to me and sometimes quack. Yes,
Quacking
my cat
cats.
does occasionally quack. It's
You said
adorable.
Cat quacking.
Yes.
Interesting.
I feel
Omar's just trying to duck out of this whole intro right now.
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey.
No, I'll
Cats,
take
man.
I'll
also
take a
now
quacking
have-
cat any day over you two.
Look, I also now have a nope rope in a glass box in my office. It likes sitting on the cool side in the morning.
Omar
Weird.
angrily saying, "I'll take a quacking cat over you." Two sounds like a censored edition.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I now have 3 pets in my house. It's interesting.
That is cool. Nope ropes are pretty
Are you
cool.
including your roommate in that?
My roommate is not a pet.
Are you sure?
I am
I don't-
absolutely sure.
I
She
don't
is
need to know.
fun And talks.
That does not
Qualified
mean.
to upgrade you from a pet.
Okay. All right. Well, it is Valentine's Day, and I guess the definition of what is and is not a pet, this would be the day to make sure it was determined before the sun came up this morning.
So anyway,
Yeah. So I am, of course, Omar Krieg. As I mentioned before, I am the game master, storyteller, whatever you want to call it, for our Pendragon campaign. In this case, A Father's Pride, episode 10. We made it to double digits, and I have to say that that is a pretty cool milestone that we made it to the 10th session of play. With all of the crazy things going on everywhere out there and around our individual lives, I feel like this is definitely a milestone. Thank you to my 3 players that are here and to my 4th that is currently on the other side of the country. And obviously to one of the original players who's no longer part of the crew. Thank you guys for allowing me to take this little crazy idea of mine and turning it into something a bit more tangible, even if it is in a virtual sense. Having said all that, let me flip over to my notes. Let's see. Previously on Blood and Glory, we had the Royal Christmas Feast of 486. Everything in that event counted for 487. We had food and drink, gold and silver coins, treasures and gems and carpets, and war banners stepped all over. A Bible, a bow, and a plaque. Lastly, a sword, gleaming white of its own power, a kingly weapon for truth and victory. Pledges made and calls to arms, the Saxon shore and the wayward nobles. We are currently in the very earliest parts of 487. For timeline-wise, we can say January through March. We have a few things. Hey, thanks for the biddies, man. I appreciate that. We have a couple of family issues to resolve, and we're going to start with Sir Dallin. I don't know why I started with Sir Dallin. It was just that's the way it is in my notes, so bear with me. Sir Dallin.
Mm-hmm.
Sir Medwin, your bastard half-brother, would like the opportunity to sit down and talk with you. Perhaps not so formal, but it is your call if formality is required, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
Well, seeing as I just asked him to run an estate for me a couple months ago, I think being casual should be acceptable.
Fair. Yeah, I guess on some levels you're more or less the same levels of responsibility outside of the fact that you have several manors to be responsible for. I'm not going to go into all like full-on roleplay because I should have looked at my notes before we started tonight, so I'm kind of catching up now. But I did review them after last session and before this session, so hopefully everything is right. Sir Medwin is, he wants to get married, and he wants your permission. He realizes he's a bastard as far as any sort of like technical or official statuses go. But he would... Oh, dear Lord. Oh, thanks for... Okay, here, hold on. All right, there we go. Rev just subscribed. Thank you so much, Rev. Yeah, long story short, did you actually... Hold on, let me review this because I remember wanting to double check this, and I don't see that he... Did you actually put Medwin in charge of one of your newly gained manors?
It's what's on the spreadsheet. I had to hire Stuart for one. He's on the one that's right next to the sisters, hoping the sister can help him out if he needs it.
Gotcha. Okay. No worries. No worries. Yeah, so... Long story short, he realizes that... hang on. He wants to... I'm getting people confused with my internal notes and what I'm looking at on the screen. No, he wants to be loyal to you and the family and your fiefdom, I guess. He wants to be a useful member, but he knows that as a bastard, there's really not much he's going to be allowed to do. He's probably feeling pretty, grateful or lucky that you've given him the responsibility of managing a manor, but he would also like to get married and hope that somewhere between those two things, getting married and not quite technically owning a manor, would help alleviate some concerns or allow for him the opportunity to prove himself.
Mm-hmm. I have no issue with that. He's also... Let me double check. Yeah, he's 28, so he has definitely some experience under his belt in doing stuff, which should help some.
Mm-hmm.
And we have some time to still find him a good match for the type of position he's in, because yeah, it is definitely awkward in a
Yes.
lot of ways, unfortunately, with the local politics being what they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because on the one hand, the illegitimacy can be a thing, but you did choose him to run the manor.
Look, my family's freaking tiny, man.
Yes.
He's literally, like, I have one brother and one sister, and that's it, and not a lot of immediate relatives
Right.
past that. So, if there was a way to just formally adopt him into the family, I would seriously consider it. Simply because.
Well, I mean, he is part of the family. It's just the fact that because you and he do not share the same parents, and one of his parents was not a noble, he is essentially lowborn. Or not. He's not even lowborn. He's baseborn, I believe would be the technical term. Now, there is a process, in theory at least, that he could become legitimized and recognized by the nobility and raised to the nobility, but usually that requires some sort of duly proven capabilities and whatnot.
And the chance to prove himself.
Yes, in order to prove himself, he has to have the chance to prove himself. So I guess it's really where he's at right now, is just trying to find a way to get the good word out.
Like, yeah, it's one of those where I'm definitely happy to try to get him as much of a good chance as he can.
Okay.
To me, that's one of the best ways to improve.
Indeed.
Just all the way around.
Yeah. All right, so he has your permission to marry, and he may start seeking a wife worthy of his station, which unfortunately is going to probably be pretty low, so he's going to have some very limited options, I think, but more on that as the story develops, I suppose. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
All right. That takes us next to, and also if you could take some notes on that, that'd be awesome. I'll have to update mine later because I don't like trying to update notes too much in the middle of the show. That takes us to Sir Everhard. Over the course... Huh?
I was gonna say, I know why they're out of order. It's your old glory. You didn't adjust it. Anyway.
That actually makes perfect sense. Your case is a little bit different. You may have noticed on your family trees and spreadsheets and things of that nature that one of your aunts has produced twin girls during this last winter phase.
Okay.
And here's portions of how this came to be. Because your aunt, I don't want to say it like that, your aunt, which is how I've always said it my whole life, so bear with me.
That's fine.
Yeah, your aunt is currently unmarried. And she has delivered 2 twin girls. All of a sudden, as it were. It should be noted that over the last several months that she has actually not been present around Pitten. And as you kind of start trying to piece things together, because, I mean, let's face it, you've been busy, you've been meaning to follow up with her, try to see what's going on, but she's also not necessarily the same, I want to say stratosphere, but that doesn't feel right. Not necessarily the same levels of responsibility or what have you. You don't really run into her too much.
Different social circles.
Yeah, different social circles and whatnot. She is your aunt, even though she's just barely older than you. Yeah, so a lot of the people that you run into and ask around about, a lot of people think that she just literally moved out, like, in any sort of official capacity, or just, that's funny that you mentioned that. I was just wondering about her the other day and realized she hadn't been here for a few weeks. I really need to get back to my work, though, because I've been really busy trying to make sure this harvest comes in well. That sort of thing. So she's kind of like slid out from under the radar and disappeared. But she has delivered children because, now she's back in Pitten, and she's got these 2 little baby girls with her.
How much is my half-brother getting around?
Are you going to ask her that?
No.
Okay. Because that's the only way I can answer that question.
Did you really just say that? Oh God. Your poor extended family, Rev.
Well, his half brother did have a child already. I'll just leave it at that.
So she's back around and with kids all of a sudden.
Yes, very, very newborn, like 2 to 3 months old, as it is now, January to March.
So the first thing that I'm assuming she's in the household. Does she have any sort of land, house, residence of her own? Like she wouldn't have land of her own, but she might have. Does she have some sort of separate residence on the estate, or is she living in the same house practically?
I would
I mean,
imagine that.
Manor, but
Yeah, I would imagine that if she's not in the actual manor, that with her own personal quarters or what have you, that maybe she has a small, I guess house would be the most accurate term, but it's probably not much more than like a glorified hut.
As soon as she showed up with kids, I would be immediately sending to make sure there wasn't anything that she needed. These are, regardless of whatever else, new members of my household.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She appears to be well taken after. As far as her physical appearance, she seems to be in good health. The children seem to be in good health, so it's not like she's been living out in the countryside, living off the land for the last several months as she goes through the final stages of labor, pregnancy and whatnot. So
I kick in the door. Is it a Saxon? No.
I was going to say, if you do that, there's going to be a lot of tears from little mouths, and they are loud as hell.
Yeah, no, I'm obviously, like, that might be in my head, like, pictured, like, isn't a Saxon, but, like, I'm trying to play the outward diplomat, seeing to her needs first, making sure that everything else is, that they are cared for, and then making more subtle inquiries as to, so who's a dad?
She doesn't give you, she doesn't
get married.
Okay, so she doesn't give you his name, but she does say that she has been at Castle Duplain for the last few months, that she came home to essentially grab up the rest of her things. She is not married, but she is expecting a wedding probably very soon. Probably before the...
Okay, which castle now?
Castle Duplain. I have to flip this map, so unfortunately our 4 little horses here might... Actually, let me just go ahead and move these guys.
Whee!
Put them over there.
Can I, throw them off the table?
No, leave them. I need them for later. I just wanted to flip this map without tossing them.
Table?
No. Alright, Duplain is over here.
Okay. And we are...
You're in Pitton, which is right here.
Yeah. So, not far away.
I'm sorry?
It's basically the next big castle down the road, so to speak.
Yeah, Duplain is a... as far as the county is concerned, it's pretty much the eastern edge of the county, and it guards against, threats that come from that way, which, obviously with, Salisbury being on the western part of the the kingdom of Logres, there's not a whole lot there that way, but this is... I don't know if I'd want to say this road is the King's Road necessarily, but it's obviously a major thoroughfare through the county, so it needs to have some sort of overwatch or what have you.
All right.
I'm responding to a text real fast, but I am listening.
Okay. I'm not going to take nothing for an answer. This is my this is my family. A marriage proposal is still sort of under my purview to a certain extent, and I want to know, like, are we getting into bed with anyone, like the house speaking? Are we creating family ties to what house?
And these are definitely valid questions. So over the course of probably a couple of days of I would imagine, unless you really wanted to push the issue and get answers right away, I feel like you'd probably be approaching the situation kind of not gingerly, but like giving her space, because
we are redheaded, so it would be gingerly.
That's not what I meant, but sure. I feel like with her being your aunt, never mind the age difference, but with her being your aunt, but also you being the lord of the land, like, I feel like there's certain amounts of,
Also, to some degree, we would have grown up together, so
Yeah.
I've
you would. I feel like unless you tell me otherwise, I don't think you would necessarily be like all up in her face, like, give me answers now.
no, I wouldn't be in her face.
So I think over the course of a few days, you eventually get her to more or less confess. And so basically, what she tells you is that for several months, probably the better part of a year, if not longer, there is a knight who is sworn to the Castellan of Castle Duplain that she had, become smitten with. And she started spending a lot more of her time with him towards the end of the summer. Obviously, conception probably would have taken place around that time. Doing some really quick math in my head. Once she found out that she was actually pregnant, she said basically she decided that she was just going to stay at the castle so long as the Castellan and her lover didn't actively throw her out, because she just didn't feel like, even though Castle Duplain's probably like half a day or a day away, like she just didn't see the point of like relocating.
So otherwise unmarried, not like an affair.
Yeah. It's. I mean, technically, this would be an affair because they're both unmarried, but they're neither one is bound to anybody else. The knight is simply a house knight. She still has not told you his name, and while she has identified the Castellan of Duplain, she has also not identified his name. Although you probably would know that his name is Sir Rollin.
Okay. I would be a little more pointed about the fact at this point that why is she dancing around his name?
Are you going to ask her that? Was that a yes? Sorry, I didn't quite come through.
Yes, it is.
Okay,
Sorry.
no worries.
That doesn't always translate over the mic.
Yeah. I think, again, one of those, like, gradually it breaks down, and she eventually comes forth, and she's like, listen, I didn't really want to say it because he's just a house knight, and you ostensibly are my lord, and you are a lord, and therefore I probably rate a higher status for a knight, but, it is what it is. His name is Sir Cadfael. Or Cadfael. I don't know how you would say it. It's some Gaelicish name. I'll type it in Discord real quick just so you can see it. Where am I?
Actually, the filter might have. I took a stab at it. I don't know if it all came over the mic. Let's see. In Discord, what channel?
Pendragon General.
Too many channels.
Yeah, I know.
Cadfael.
Yeah, Cadfael, whatever. And that's basically what she tells you, is that, they started interacting, early last year, and she essentially had a crush on him at first, and then, it developed into something a bit more, suddenly kids. Now she's delivered the children, she's come back to... She hopes that she's going to be able to gather up all her things and just head back to the castle, but she's not taking into account, the proper etiquette or protocol for all of that.
Yeah. So I guess I would still also be curious as to ostensibly why someone who should have been attending to duties, ostensibly I'm assuming there's enough work to go around. Was there some reason that she was all the way out at Duplain in the first place?
Well, she just wanted to be closer to him. Literally.
Well, obviously at some point, yes, but it's not like it's a 5-minute walk away. I mean, it's further away than...
Well, it started out as one of those, hey, why don't you... Like, I'm going to use more modern terms, but basically it turns into one of those, like, hey, why don't I just go spend the weekend with you? And then suddenly a weekend turns into a week, turns into, fuck it, I'm just here for a month. And then next thing you know, they're here forever.
Okay.
I mean, again, using more modern terms, it would be something along those lines. Not to mention that there was sufficient, as far as Sir Cadfael himself, he went on, what did we have last year? We had the counter raids, and we had patrolling going on. So Sir Cadfael I'll say he was probably part of the patrol group, because the Earl kept more people back for that than he sent people on raiding. So he was probably... What's that?
Yeah. No, go ahead.
So Cadfael was on patrols, which really worked out for him, because, his patrol area would have been anywhere around Duplain and up. Let me look at the map again. He would have been probably out in the Harewood over here, or off down towards Camelot Forest, as far as his patrol sectors would have been. So he would have been home every so often and had, happy fun times, not necessarily physical, but, someone to come home to. So he was enjoying that, I'm sure.
Well, obviously I would say that arrangements need to be made.
How would you like to approach that?
Well, I suppose the first arrangement that we need is, since he's marrying up to her, is she moving to Duplain or is he moving to Pitten?
That's a good question. You know who would probably have a good answer for that?
The Castellan of Duplain.
Indeed. That would be a good place to start.
That would be a discussion with him as to who is retaining the service of said knight.
Yeah. How do we slice this wedding cake? So that's your next move, as at some point over the course of the summer, interact with, or maybe send a message or get the attention of Sir Rollin of Duplain. Okay.
Ostensibly, especially to say that as a member of my family, would rather keep my family closer than further away if at all possible.
Well, the cool thing is like, when it comes to castles and the traditional, oh my god, shit's hit the fan, everybody get to the castle, you have your individual manor, which is only going to, you could probably take some of your small folk, but realistically, if you had to go to the castle for protection, you'd probably be going to Duplain. Actually, you're pretty close to equidistant from Duplain to Sarum, so you could, in theory, go either way.
And since Duplain is the border, probably the other way.
Yeah, depending on where, what the nature of the shit is that is hitting the fan, And again, without looking, because if you remember in, I want to say it's chapter 3 of the book, it does list travel times, and I'm pretty sure Pitten to Duplain is really not that far. Probably a half a day to a day at most. Just glancing. The other thing is, as a Castellan, Sir Rollin is going to technically outrank you. So there's a small matter of protocol that you may want to consider when you come around to, or get around to.
It's certainly not a demand, but it is a pointing out of protocol in the sense that he is marrying up to my sister, and it's a bit of a slight to my family for her to go to the knight rather than the knight to come to him, or come to me.
Okay. For those that were just wondering what was going on in my head, I was literally trying to think that out in my, you caught the real-time look on my face of when I'm trying to think something out. I'm thinking, in my own, you may actually see a little bit of physical discomfort on my face.
Yep.
I think, and I'm only speculating this because I'm not sure how Rollin is going to respond when you get around to either messaging him or meeting with him face to face. When the topic of who is slating whom, he may have some questions about whether his own house knight was slighting you versus worrying about who is going to take the bigger honor hit by who moves where. You know what I mean? Because here's this young knight who's knocking up your aunt and having children out of wedlock. and
I'm not
creating
thrilled about that either.
Yeah,
That's the-
yeah. So I think that's like for me, and part of where some of my thoughts came from when I was putting this part together.
Maybe I want to get my proverbial pound of flesh out of said knight.
Yeah.
In service in return for
Yeah.
his.
So that'll be an interesting scene to play out post-campaign season, is what you do with all this information and how you approach resolving it. So that'll be food for you to think about. And unless you have anything else, I want to move on to our third player of the night.
No, I think we've talked in circles around each other enough.
Excellent. I have a
The
message.
table wasn't locked.
What? What'd you do?
The map. I clicked left click on it.
Yeah, don't move my map. God damn it, boy. You're,
I clicked-
you're fucking
I was
fired.
all tabbing between my character sheet and then I left click.
I think.
Yeah.
Well, this is one of those
It's off center very slightly. Right
yeah,
there.
yeah. I know. It's.
No, right there.
Is that?
You're off just right there.
Hold on. I don't know which way it went. God damn it.
No, wasn't that it?
Nope. It's literally.
you-
we're
you
talking
got-
like pixels here. Okay, I think it's good there. Lock it.
I'm mostly just doing a you missed a spot.
No, it. Well,
Camera
the
off.
unfortunate thing is the size of that board is literally, like I kind of sized. I should have given myself a little more wiggle room. Anyway, let's talk about Sir Farvel and his family concerns
Yay.
for this episode. You have a half brother bastard as well,
Yep.
and at one time, a joke amongst the cast, if not necessarily in game, canon wise, is that Sir Gerbalt, or however you guys want to say his name, because I'm not sure, actually facilitated, may have actually committed fratricide against your older brother, who would have been the heir to your lands.
Uh-huh.
Perhaps it was an accident, perhaps it was intentional. Sometimes things happen. Long story short, your brother's dead. Your half-brother is not currently at blame, but people do whisper because that's what people do. And you are now the lord, not just the heir, but the lord of your lands, and you have a wife who brought more manors in for you to be in charge of.
Yay.
Sir Gerbalt would like to have a few moments of your time, if you are so inclined to treat with him.
When was the last time I talked to him?
I don't know. And let me rephrase that. I don't know. That may...
Did you give? I'm trying to remember myself.
He did
Give
not.
Your half brother any? Oh.
He did
No, I
not.
didn't.
He did not. And that worked out perfectly with the random event, as it were, that I rolled for his family. So are you meeting with your half-brother? Since apparently everybody's got one? If you put all the half-brothers together, you actually get a full brother and another half-brother.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll meet with him.
Okay, hold on one second. Okay, so Gerbald, and again, I'm not going to go deep into the actual portrayal of this young individual.
Oh, give me a unique voice.
No. Unfortunately, I can't do voices that well to be consistent, so it's really annoying when I try. And I've been trying for a different project that I want to start soon, and I can't keep consistent with it, but I'm off track now. Sir Gerbalt has come up to you, and he has basically says that he wants permission to leave your lands and to go wander the world. He feels that there is nothing here in Salisbury for him. There is so little chance for him to have any sort of, modern terms, we would say upward movement. But I think more temporally, it would be, there's no chance for glory here. He even points out the fact that with all those new manors you picked up, you didn't even send me off to manage any of them. You sent other people or hired people. You
servant
hired.
girl.
Yeah, you sent a servant girl, not even your own blood, half though it may be. You didn't. So basically, there's nothing here for me, and you've made it obvious that there's nothing here for me.
He's gonna go raise an army.
He hasn't.
Huh?
Yeah, shut up, Rev. Don't you? I know. To be fair, I state that he hasn't proven any of his worth. I haven't seen him do anything notable in order for him to manage one of those so-called manners.
Okay, I want to make sure I heard you right. So if you could repeat that, please. I want to make sure I heard everything correctly. You're basically
I said that he hasn't done anything notable, essentially. Hence, why he's not. Yep,
No,
it.
I got you. I'm trying very hard not to be a smartass right now, because if anybody knows, I am very sarcastic, and I'm trying to follow my notes and not just go off on a tangent of sarcasm.
Yay.
He gets a look on his face that kind of like, I'm trying to figure out how best to explain it. I think in one part it's, see, this just proves my point that you're not letting me do anything. And then on the other part of it is, yeah, no, this absolutely just confirms that there's nothing here for me. If
Maybe
anything,
with a touch of, are you kidding me right now?
yeah, like he didn't come asking for you to give him something to do, but maybe that could have, given him enough motivation. But he doesn't say any of this. This is all literally on his face, all at once. So it may even be kind of difficult for Farvel to actually read this of his own accord. Yeah, no, he's definitely got a little bit of a, okay, well, clearly I'm not wanted here, or at the very least I'm not appreciated here, so there's no real reason for me to stay. I think it would be best if I just go wander the world and see what glories and treasures I may acquire out there. Maybe one day I'll come back.
Alright, I tell him good luck then, essentially.
Holy fuck.
Or hit you on the way out.
Yeah.
Okay, alright.
On another side note, I would like to have someone keep an eye on him.
Okay, hold on. I need to compose myself, because while I had anticipated that as a possible response, I didn't think it quite come out that harsh. Like, okay, bitch, go. God damn.
Just to be clear, you basically sent out your fully trained as a knight brother into a world where he could recruit a mercenary army and come back and be a problem later.
Also,
Yeah.
I would like to point out,
claim to your title.
yeah, I would also, or more accurately, he could always tell everybody that his claim is the more valid one. Nobody would know any better until they actually come back and realize that so long as you're living and have the Earl to speak for you, or any other of your compatriots to speak for you, they have no reason to believe anything that to not believe anything he says. But also, in short, you have just dismissed your half-brother from your service. You have sent him out. If this was Japan, he would have just become a Ronin.
Yeah.
A masterless samurai.
Yep.
Mind you, he did come to ask if you would let him do this. It's not entirely 100% on Farvel for this.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's a difference between and this is you're the narrator, but there's a difference between, hey, I'd like to go adventure and see the world. I don't really have a place here, and there's a difference between good luck, brother, go out there and do the family proud, and there's yeah, whatever.
Okay.
You're worthless.
I'll give you a
way out.
chance to backpedal slightly. How exactly do you grant him this request? Because at this point, I'm sitting at least a minimum of 99.5% that you have given him what he's asked for, and the only difference at this point is how you give him that request, or grant that request to him. Like, how do you phrase it? How do you present yourself to him? Is it, on the one hand, don't let the door hit you on the way out, or is it, go in my blessings, may good fortunes go with you, or
We'll go with that one. Good fortunes.
okay, well, listen, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, so it's up to you.
Well, I'm saying he may be saying good fortunes, but he just told his brother he's worthless right before that.
True. Like, there's definitely some,
Rev.
Okay,
let
here.
him fall into this trap. I want my pretend Jerry Springer later, okay?
Omar's the one giving him second chances after he said, "Oh, you're worthless."
No, because you know what? because if I had let him go with that, that's exactly what it would have been. I'm like, fuck you, don't let the door hit you on the way out. And as funny as that would be, I'm not sure if he understood the full gravity there. On the other hand, yeah, on your family, on your family spreadsheet, you need to mark Sir Gerbolt as no longer under your control. Similar to how your sister is marked. So let me take this. I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to drop it. You can't do that to a merge yourself. Go fuck yourself. God, sometimes I really hate the way Excel talks to me. It tells me I can't do the things I want to do. Okay. Yep, Sir Gerbolt is gone. I need you to... Let me see, where are my notes? I need you to make note that he will be gone for... And this is strictly out of character. Because, you know what? Disregard. Don't worry about that. I will get to that at another time. Alright, any questions, anything you guys want to do for yourselves, for your families, your lands, etc., to cover the period of roughly January through Easter. You can assume you would have attended an Easter feast, but we are not going to do an Easter feast. We've already done our feast for the year. So is there anything you guys want to do? You guys got some money to play with? Okay, slow down. All right. Hold on. My bad. My bad. Let's create a little bit of do this the right way sort of thing here. I'm going to start.
Everybody talk at once.
Yeah. I'm gonna start with Rev. I'm gonna work my way down the glory line table thingy. That still sounds bad as that's. Goddamn, there's got to be a better way to say this. Yeah. So basically, what I want to do is I want to give you guys each a chance to do something. We've got about 10 minutes before we need to take a break. 10 to 15 minutes before we need to take our break, and then once we finish that up, take the break, come back. We'll do the next major event for tonight. So starting with Rev. I've given you guys plot lines, as it were. It is now your turn to present things for me, or things that your character would like to do for your character, your fellow player knights, your families, your lands, etc. What do you got for me?
Well, so we can invest some of the money into the property, yes?
I'll give you the short answer. No. Let me give you the longer answer. Yes, but I haven't instituted the rules for that yet. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Let me take that back. So my intent was to, at some point, scrub the book of... I'm going to say the Manor. I'm not 100% sure if that's the right one. Regardless, a book that I have for Pendragon, a supplementary book, that does have various things that you can spend money on to increase, improve, build upon your estates. What I have not done is gone through it and set it up for how I want to use it. And I have also not gone through and read the entire book because it gets really deep into how hundreds are set up. And if you know what that means, you know what my pain is. If you don't know what that means, let's just call it the medieval equivalent of zoning.
Yeah. So, I guess I know that I'm in somewhat of a plains area.
Mm-hmm. One could argue a floodplain.
So, I'm assuming that farming is going to be one of our primary...
Oh, yes. Chapter 3, after all of the family history stuff, it gives a nice 2 or 3 page long breakdown of all of the things that your properties have already inherent at start.
I'll need to double check that then.
Yeah, you have... I don't remember exact terminology and units of measure or whatever. Basically, you have 2 different plots of land, and you rotate each year as to which one gets used.
Okay. Well, and I'll be straight up, I know we're on stream, but when in the beginning I started trying to look up stuff in the book and base my decisions off that, and you're like, no, we're not going to do that, we're not going to do that. I'm like, oh, never mind.
No, that's fair. I haven't been very clear, and I have not been very diligent, we'll say, in doing some of the stuff I wanted to do, because I've been distracted with 1,700 different things.
That's understandable. I'm not faulting you. I'm just
No,
explaining why I stopped looking into the book.
no worries. I had
I'm
said
trying to let you do things the way you don't want to do, rather than have me rules lawyer things that you want to go a different way with.
no. I have said that essentially anything in chapter 8. If you guys want to purchase it, let me know. So that still stands. I do want to point out, however, before you go into what you want to do, my intentions may cause some of the stuff in chapter 8 to later change for clarity and to be open and honest with everybody at the table. I won't change anything you've done, but some of the particulars may change moving forward from when I implement the changes, if that's not confusing the way I just said it.
Well, my brother, half-brother,
Uh-huh.
is now in charge of a town that produces rudimentary leather.
Yes, Seth. He's in. Well, he's not. Did I say he was actually in charge of Ember?
You said he was being sent down to oversee it, yeah.
So he's in Ember. He's probably in a similar fashion as you guys have done. Not necessarily in charge of it, but he's definitely managing it in the name of.
Right. And so, as someone who is managing it and has some level of control, I'm probably going to be using that social connection
Mm-hmm.
and the continued good relationship that I seem to be having with my half brother up until as of now.
Listen, let me let you on a small secret. Your GM's a bit of a dick and sometimes forgets that you and Seth are not actively trying to kill each other.
Well, right. So you had us basically patched up and on friendly
Yeah,
terms
yeah.
as of last feast.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm actually going to reach out to him, and see about establishing some sort of, possibly looking into hiring the right people, or even setting up something outside of Pitten with some of my money, if it's not something that could be zoned there. And so we can put a pin in this, and it's something for you to look into and get back to me, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But I would be looking into taking advantage of my money and his resource, and essentially taking that raw leather and investing in making better leather goods out of it.
Okay. Basically,
Whether that be on my property or somewhere where it was zoned.
Okay, so you're trying to set up some sort of, at the very least, some sort of trade between Pitten and Ember, and if not trade, then set up some sort of facility or capability of Ember producing better leather.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, not only like better leather, but making leather goods, be it saddles.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
I feel like, given the description that we were given for Ember out of the books, I feel like Ember more produces the leather material that is then taken somewhere else and made into other things.
Right. And if it's not, and basically in this inquiry, I would also be looking into if it's stepping on the toes of whoever actually owns Ember, of if they're the ones who owns where it's it's sent from there and things like that.
Right.
Or if they simply sell it to somebody and they don't care whether it's sold to me or sold to someone else.
Let me look at the map real quick and see where exactly Ember is. I don't remember. Oh, it's right over here. So Ember, if it falls under anybody, obviously it would be under Till's Head, because the Blakemore and the Crockwood are the main force that Till's Head was built for. I'm sorry, that's not right. I'm looking for... No, that's the right castle, Till's Head. So Ember... Yeah, if anything, Ember definitely falls under it, under Till's Head. So, okay. Alright. Oh, I'm thinking of Vagon that was covering against the Modron Forest. That's what it was. And Till's Head is up. Probably a similar idea, up this way. Anyways. Okay, yeah. So you're going to try to work through Seth and whoever the next higher leader lord is. Try to get some
it's more of a, like, I would at the very least make inquiries as to what if I could get essentially a advantageous deal on the leather directly in order to improve it
right
myself, or if the zoning issues are a thing, either in Ember directly sort of invest in essentially improving it directly in Ember itself, or also the inquiries would include if I'm essentially stepping on someone else's toes.
Right.
Or if they just sell it and don't, like if whoever is next in line just sells it and doesn't care, then obviously I wouldn't pursue that any further.
Right. Okay. All right. That takes us to Sir Dallin. And just to refresh my notes, your bastard brother wanted more responsibility / permission to get married. You said yes. Now we just gotta find.
I came up with that on the fly. I thought we weren't going to do stuff like that.
No, that's
like,
fine. What I'm trying to do, so, more than just above the table, what I'm trying to do is encourage you guys indirectly where possible to think about the things that your character might be trying to do beyond the crazy events I come up with. Because they are your characters who should have their own goals and ideas and things like that. So,
and above the table, my character also has an interest on better gear, better armor, better. He has an eye towards both income and betterment in combat.
Right. Okay, so Dallin, your brother wants to get married. We need to find a spouse. Which I already wrote that down. What about Sir Dallin and the multitude of manors that he is now responsible for? What is he wanting to get into? What does he want to do?
Basically,
Or let me rephrase that. Is there anything that your character would like to do in general, not necessarily specifically related to manors,
Yes.
although that could be it?
well, in this particular instance, it is so related. Now that I'm responsible for all these things, I will want to focus on learning all the ins and outs, collecting all the information I need to make sure I can manage it properly, make sure it's all being run efficiently. I don't have people siphoning where they're not supposed to be siphoning, and, collecting.
So probably doing some sort of tour or progress, as it's called.
I was examining everything in detail, collecting as much information as possible, making sure there's nobody there to stab me in the back or steal out of our pockets from money that's supposed to be going to support the manor, stuff like that.
All right, so progress of property, get to know the people. Okay, and get to know people. And that gives me an idea or two for some other ideas I had. I should have hid that smug smirk I just had on my face so the camera wouldn't see it.
Yeah. My inner never-ending list generation of paranoia is they make sure they can't stab you in the back. Make sure you do this. Make sure you do that. I'm like, knightly character would not be as concerned about the whole backstabby problem as they would be more about making sure everyone is well taken care of and all the rules are being upheld. And
I think
that they know everything they need to do to be the appropriate lord and liege of the
yeah, and I
people.
think a knightly person who is not already predisposed to the more sneaky stabby stuff would make a big to-do about all of that as a show of strength, as a show of, haha, you can't touch me, I am a lord. Sort of way. That's my opinion, though.
Frankly, I don't particularly feel the need to lord my position.
No, but I think...
I want to get along well while still observing some social niceties.
Yeah, but I think where I was going with that is not necessarily the out and out, I'm a lord, you can't touch me, but more of like, as a knight, you're beneath me, little roguey, stabby, sneaky guy. I'm not worried about you, because inherently to my abilities of being a knight means I'm going to defeat you, period. Like, there's no question, until you later find out that the sneaky stabby rogue might actually get the sneaky stab in.
Yeah, I just am perfectly willing to... I know the way people work. I have a very, very good intrigue and identification skill and all that type of thing. I want to make the best use of my people that I can.
Yeah.
Without allowing them to do dumb things. Like try to stab me in the back.
Keep them busy in appropriate directions, and therefore they can't notice
making
that...
sure they can learn and grow and are thankful for my presence, making sure everything is as smooth as possible.
You know, based
cough,
on
cough,
that comment alone...
Brother, cough, cough.
Based on that comment alone, it makes me really want to reconsider some ideas I had about a game mechanic that is available in some of the extra books where the players would have justice events periodically, and then based on the outcome of those justice events can influence two new traits, which are I'm probably going to misname them slightly, but it's they're both passions, love of commoners and hatred of lord, which is basically the commoners side of the love of commoners, and they kind of feed off each other. And you know, if they go too far one way, you end up with a bunch of pissed off peasants that want to remove you from control. Anyway, it's an interesting mechanic that I've seen play that provides an awful lot of fun opportunities for, you know, role play and character development and, you know, immersion into the system, not system, but the world.
The way I see it is I'm ultimately responsible for upholding the rule of law.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
And I want to make sure my people are comfortable enough that they don't feel the need to go around that.
Yeah. The best way to defeat banditry is to not give them an opportunity to become bandits.
Yep.
Frankly,
if they're well taken care of, they'll take better care of me and my staff.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I had a similar thought.
I want fanatical, loyal people. I'm willing to make work to get there.
Duke Atreides would like to speak with you. God damn.
Good, but I'm not going to go jump into a desert planet and get eaten by worm things and then turn into more worm. No, just no.
But desert power. Desert power. It's how we defeat...
But creepy worms that attach to your body that you have to then go jump back. No.
No, that was the second Leto that had to do that. Don't worry about that.
But still.
Anyway, way off topic.
I'd rather not accidentally get blown up with an unfortunate nuclear combination of shield and laser bullshit.
Yeah, I feel like that would just... Anyway, yeah, before we go off into a tangent there, let me move on to the final player before we take our break. All right, shush you. Farvel. What am I looking at for Farvel in his land of Farvelites?
Farvelite. Farvel wanted to hire a Farvelite to tail my brother.
Okay. Do you have... Alright, so I have two questions right off the top of my head. One, do you have a house knight that is not already engaged in other things that you can send off to keep an eye on your half-brother?
I believe I did have one. I was just looking for him.
Let me alt-tab over to your family sheet that I have, and let me see... Oh, I don't have your land sheet open, so you'll have to find one for me. While you're looking for that, let me give you a second question to consider. In what manner are you keeping tabs on Sir Gerbolt? Are you sending him openly with your brother? Here, go explore the world, take him with you. I'd rather you have someone by your side than go out alone. Or is this someone that you send out, after the fact, and you're like, hey, I want you to tail him. Don't let him know that you're there, but if you need to, save him. Or some other variation on that.
No, the second one was actually what I was going to go with.
Okay. Alright, so Farvel is sending...
Wait till he's out of the country, then kill him.
No.
to tail Sir Gerbolt.
Would be an interesting idea, but no.
Okay. Alright, let me know if you have someone that you can send. If you don't, give me either a different... give me an alternative answer to that question, or... basically, how are you going to handle that, I guess, if you don't have anybody to send? And then also, is there anything else that Farvel would like to do for Farvalia and the Farvelites? Since I'm over here making up shit now.
No, I think that's it.
Okay. All right, well, in that case, my friends, we are going to take a 5 to 10 minute break, and when we come back, we will move on to the second portion of tonight's festivities and funny things and whatever else that we're going to do for tonight. So we'll see you in about 5 to 10 minutes. Stick around, my friends.